All right. Welcome, everyone. I'm honored to be here with one of my favorite artists of all time, favorite rappers of all time, artist, novelist, and quote unquote best rapper in the world and actual best rapper in the world, Kool
Hey,
AD. Shout out Kool AD. Welcome to the show, bro.
what's up, man?
What's up? What's up? So I'm curious initially to hear a bit about your story. I'm curious, how did you become Kool AD? Like, if you could give a synopsis of the major life events that shaped you from a young age, what would you say?
I don't know. Let's see. I think I thought of the name like in the high school. I think I was casually rapping here and there. Um, might have recorded one or two things, so I wasn't thinking of like putting out anything. And I was going by a few different names. Um, Originally, Victor Von Doom, then Encyclopedia Brown, and I landed on Kool AD. And I kept changing what the A and the D meant. And then my fault. I just woke up from a long nap. Um, but yeah, man, I don't know, man. Just fucking did it, man. Just was rapping, having fun, doing a bunch of things, painting a little picture, what have
Word up, bro. Cool attention deficit, cool Abby Domingo.
you. All of them. It's Abasi Dubiaku is the main one now, though. So yeah.
Apasi Dubiaco.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What about like your childhood? Maybe you could give us a snapshot. You're from the Bay, and
Mm-hmm.
you were
From
born
San
there.
Francisco. Yep. Hunters Point, and then Alameda, then Oakland. Then I was out in Connecticut for a second, New York, and then for like 8 years, and Mexico for a couple years, and came back to the Bay. So
What did
yeah,
you What did
huh?
you love to do as a kid? What did you love to do when you were a kid?
I don't know. I was fucking watch TV. Uh, Started smoking weed kind of early. Vaguely into skateboarding for a second. Played baseball and soccer till they made you do it every day in high school, and then I quit. Uh, Fucking, I like to read. Fucking
Mm.
did a lot of cutting class to do nothing really. Um, they used to have these uh chess boards set up on Market Street in San Francisco, so I'd go and like play chess with like 50-year-old, nearly homeless looking dudes. Um, Fucking what else? I would play drums in a punk rock band starting around when I was like 14 through high school.
Mm.
So I would do like shows at, various little, Gilman, Burnt Ramen, the Chop Shop, the Slaughterhouse, all these little kind of warehouse venues, some house parties, Dead Rat Beach, fucking where else? Just little backyard parties and shit like that. So I've been playing music from a pretty early age, And at that time, I was rapping a little, but I didn't really see a future in it. Didn't see a career in it. Um, Never, But I don't know. I think when the rapping seemed like a viable thing around the MySpace age, I finally recorded some shit and put it up, and then there was like people were fucking with it, and then um that was around when uh Hema from Das Races was like, hey, let's rap together. So then we did a group, and then people were paying attention to that one. So, you know, we got in some little newspapers and whatnot. And then fucking from there, at that point I had a little more recorded stuff. So I was still releasing little solo joints here and there, but then it wasn't until after I quit the group that I really like started focusing on rapping, like my like Kool AD as a like, oh, this is my job now. It always felt like I was kind of like, I don't know. But yeah, man, I don't fucking, I'm sorry, I'm just like not in the fucking interview mode right now. I don't
No, it's
really do them
perfect.
that much, and fucking, you know. And I'm like, really, I've been like sleeping for a long minute, but
It's all good,
yeah,
bro.
man.
It's perfect. It's
All right,
perfect.
cool,
Yeah.
cool.
I found Das Racist back in the day. That's how I stumbled upon you originally, and yeah, I definitely it was like a revelation for me at that time actually. Like Das Racist and also Milo around similar time. I was like, damn, this just opens up whole new dimensions of what rap can be, and it was like really key to inspiring me to start rapping actually. So,
That's what's
so
up.
yeah, thanks for that, man. And
What?
yeah, and you always stood out to me in Das Races. Like I loved you and Heem's raps both, but yeah, your raps, I was like, I love the silly like goofiness, the wackiness, the yeah,
Listen,
caveman porn star riding on a unicorn, undercover cop, and I'm wearing a uniform, that type of shit. that, was,
yeah.
that was funny. Um, yeah, um, but yeah, I'm curious, like, what you, what do you love about rap music? Why do you love rapping? Seems like you can't stop.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's fucking, uh, I don't know. It's a fun art form, man. I can't explain why it became such a central part of my life, but it did. Now it's can't stop, really. Man. Can't stop, won't stop. You know.
Word, yeah. Also, I just remembered a minute ago I was gonna say when you said you're not in like the interview mode, it just made me think of like some of your old interviews you would do with like Nardwar and people like that, where you totally spoof in the interview and kind of be doing this like postmodern Andy Warhol type interview style. That was hilarious.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like oftentimes I don't know when I ever am in an interview mood. Is that I think is what it is, and I think when you have to do so many, you just really are like, fuck this, like you know, and then you just kind of get into a way where you just you also the drugs play into it too, and you're like, okay, well. And I feel like it was never ever like a thing where we sit down like, all right, this time we're going to like blah blah blah. It was just kind of like, all right, here's a fucking other one, and then just everyone sort of like vibes in a slightly different way or gels into something. I don't know, but yeah, and I feel like I do. I mean, I say yes to less. For years, I was just turning them down, and now I kind of reluctantly take them. And just feel like maybe more people will stream and buy my shit, but like I really don't like it. I don't see a point. You know, it's just kind of like listen to the songs. That's me. You know, it's like I got hundreds of them, so you can really learn a lot about your boy. You know,
Yeah, you can. You can.
but
Yeah, it's kind of wild actually to just think like how many hours I've spent hearing your stream of consciousness like flow through my brain over the years. That's crazy,
that's
man.
what's up, brother. I
Uh,
appreciate it. I know. I mean,
yeah.
I have fans that still haven't listened to half my shit just because I dropped too much of it. But I figured, why hold on to it? Like, when am I gonna? It's either drop it now or I might never. So it's like it's there. Fucking y'all listen to it. You know,
Mm.
I'm recording it regardless. And I know plenty of artists just record a shit ton of stuff that never sees the light of day, and then maybe like when they're dead, the vault is released and blah blah blah. But it's like, why? You can when I'm dead, you can just listen to the songs again with the new ears, I guess. It's just like I just rather have them out there. NSA already get to hear them, so why not y'all? You know.
There you go. Who are some of your favorite rappers?
Let's see. I gotta say E40, MF Doom, uh, Cool Keith, Big Pun, fucking, most Def, Talib Kweli. I used to like Common a lot, but I feel like I stopped listening after the first 4 albums, first five-ish. Fucking, I still like the old stuff, and there's probably some new stuff I just haven't paid that much attention to. Let's see who else. Fucking Black Thought. Um, let's see. Uh, boom, 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 boom. You know, Mobb Deep, both of them.
Mm.
I was a little more of a Prodigy head, but Havoc got some bars too. Fucking Tribe Called Quest, obviously. Fucking Outkast,
Mm.
both of them. But you know, I was always more of an Andre head, but Big Boy got some ones. The KOOL, you know, was a big influence as a kid. That's the homie's cousin. So
Mm.
he put me onto them super early. I was like 12, and
Mm.
that shit was definitely like nothing else I'd heard rap wise at that point. You know, and still since, you know, the KOOL is kind of, yeah, you know, it's a real different one. Far Side, another one I, you know, as a youngster I really was into a lot. Um, Again, you know, Wu, obviously all the Wu guys. Um, Ghost and Ray mostly was my favorite, but I like all of them. Um, I'm missing a bunch. Um, you know, Nas, Jay-Z, not mad, you know, like all the kind of marquee names. But as far as Lil B, another big influence, just in terms of in the Cool Keep range of like, how can you stretch it in other ways other than pure lyricism, like the art ways, the lateral art ways, you could kind of stretch it. Um, and But I really do like kind of like barred up spitters, you feel me? Like out of all the newer guys, and these guys aren't even that new, but Griselda probably is my favorite of that whole squad of fools. And then, you know, Estee Neck, this fool Sweet Dog put me on the Estee Neck. That fool's hella good. Mac Homie, fucking who else? Oh, I'm missing some. Billy Woods, uh, fucking Danny Brown, obviously, you know, and everyone out his whole set, you know, fucking Dopehead, love Dopehead, fucking Sheefy, uh, you know, Travis Chandler. Um, Other Detroit, I like Guilty Simpson out of Detroit. Has some ones, man. They got a lot of good rappers. But yeah, I mean, everything, man. I fucking I like even I like rap music, you know. I like corny commercial shit, you know. Like I like everything. Like even like stuff where all the heads like think it's bullshit. I still like that stuff too, you know. Like I'm not mad at fucking, you know, Lil Uzi Vert, Playboy Cardi, and all the kind of like, you know, even what's his name, Lil Pump. Even I like that shit with the, you know, my bitch love to do cocaine and all that shit. Now I don't know. I feel like it's you know, I like music. You know, I like noise music. I like fucking punk rock and hardcore, thrash and grind. You know, I like fucking jazz, free jazz. You know, like Ornette Coleman was one of my fucking top creators of all time. Sun Ra. You know, I like all the directions. It's hard to dislike music because you're like, oh, this fool's like fucking making music. Like you gotta applaud that. Like in a world such as this, just even making it to a recording studio or bringing recording equipment into your home or garage or whatever, and just bothering to put another song into the world, you gotta applaud that, you know. But yeah,
Beautiful, man. Thank you for
well,
the long list. I got some to check out there. You love Dell too, right? I mean, you rap with Dell
oh
once
yeah,
or
Dell, I
twice.
missed him, of course. Yeah, I stay running into that fool. Yeah, that dude's just
Oh,
out and about.
nice.
He live in the same town that my daughter goes to school at, so I see him a lot. But
For
yeah,
sure,
no,
bro. I
he
love
a
Dell.
hero. Grew up listening to bruh. For surely, yeah. We've been bullshitting about making some more music. That dude also records all the time, but he never puts it out. Well, he puts it out sometimes, but you know. But yeah, we'll probably do some more shit in the future. Oh yeah, X-Squire, Mayhem. Uh About to do a show with them in New York in June. We're just looking for the venue right now. Oh god. All right. What else?
I saw that Black Star is coming out with a new album after like 2 decades. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah. I preemptively got the streaming service that it was going to be exclusive on, and then realized it's not coming out for another month, so I canceled it so I could get my 7 days just to listen to it, and maybe keep it just to listen to it for a little bit longer. But yeah, but nah, that's probably like the most anticipated album, personally for me, I can think of. It's like I haven't thought of another album I'd wait that long, especially all Mad Lib. It's like, come on, because Mad Villain is probably my. It's usually my number. If I have to make a top 5 albums of all time, Mad Villainy is usually number 1 for rap albums. So, and Black Star is usually number 1 or number 2. So, you know, for that combination, yeah, nah, I'm more than ready. And I don't know, I can only imagine. Really, it's like a lot of people like seem to, I don't know. I think that like people that poo Talib Kweli don't even listen to his new shit, because his new shit go just as hard as his old shit. So it's just like, I think it's just this bandwagon situation. But I don't know. Also, a lot of people that have opinions on music don't actually listen to it, I feel. But that's another thing, really. Or maybe you listen and you just don't hear it right. I don't know. But I also understand that my taste is different, in that I find it. I mean, I guess there's stuff that really bugs me. I like just really overblown pop shit. Like I can't really handle like. I mean, I'm not really in a position to listen to overblown pop shit anymore. But I remember the overblown pop shit of my youth, like you know, NSYNC, boy, what's it called? Backstreet Boys, even most old, what's her face, Britney Spears. Though she had a couple numbers in her like mid years, you know, like in her like mid career years, she had some moments where she was all right. But like, yeah, like that kind of like super slickly produced kind of bland pop music where it's just, you know, pretty par for the course chord progressions that don't do much. So I can't fuck with that type of music. That's like the only kind of music I really don't like that much. And even then, there's some big pop songs that I'll fuck with, but it's not due to the genre, it's due to the specifics of this or that song, you know, in that genre. But
Word.
but yeah, but you know, pop is that's such a vague, surreal concept of like what is that as a genre, as a collection of sounds. Not really. It's more like a production quality, really, and maybe specific tempos. But you know, but yeah, no, I mean it's a rare question. Yeah, no, I do have stuff I dislike. Is all I'm trying to say, but it's usually for like kind of like, I don't know, for reasons almost beyond music. I don't know how to put it, but yeah.
Word. What What about other artistic influences outside of music? What are your biggest artistic influences?
Been a big Basquiat fan since I was a youngin. In terms of artists, the I was born at the San Francisco Children's Hospital, and they had a big Keith Haring mural on this wall outside of it for hella years. That ended up actually at Deitch Galleries in New York when I was living in New York. And this girl that I was messing with was working at Deitch Galleries, and like she brought me to see it like when they got it, and that was like a trip to see. Like Keith Haring is like tied probably with Basquiat for one of my favorite artists. And then I was always a big fan of them kind of like more conceptual type, you know, Andy Warhol, huge influence, and what's the other guy, Marcel Duchamp. Like those are kind of like maybe my top 4 right there. If I had to add somebody else, I don't know. You know, not mad at Picasso, but yeah, you know, I like abstract expressionists. Oh, Jackson Pollock, you know, again, yeah, abstract expressionists, neo expressionists, and then kind of like postmodern pop art. Big fan of what's her name, Abramovich, you know, Tino Segal, uh, and then you know graffiti and comics and stuff, you know, from the Bay. So Dream, Twist, Reminisce, you know, like a lot of graffiti writers from around here, and you know, dabbled in that. I like David Cho because he kind of like in the same sense that like Basquiat and Keith Haring kind of like had their little feet in the graffiti game and then bridged it to high art. David Cho does a certain thing like that. Law One out of or Law Two, sorry, out of New York. My first car I bought was actually, I didn't have one until I moved to New York. I was like 25 when I bought a car, I think, and it was a limousine. I was trying to have Law 2 painted and go on tour in it, but then it got booted and towed before that all happened because I ended up having a tour in something else and had the homie. I was going to pay him to park it, to keep moving the parking space, but it's like it was a stretch limo. It took 3 spaces. This is in Brooklyn, so it's like take 3 hours to park it sometimes. I just collect tickets on it sometimes, you know, stupid. But it got booted. Then I was like, all right, you know what? I'll just get it for next tour. And then it got booted before I could get Lot 2 to paint on it. But is what it is. Fucking I'm trying to get, yeah. Anyway, you know, fucking like art, man. I'm a fan of art.
Reminded me of that one track where you say abstract like dozens of times in a row. Abstract, abstract, abstract.
Oh yeah,
abstract,
sorry.
abstract,
I might have done that more than once at this point.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, man. Little tricks,
Yeah.
man. You fucking sprinkle little things. But yeah.
So so you're like one of the most prolific artists that I'm aware of. You've released like dozens of albums, countless visual artworks, multiple novels. I'm curious what you would say about how do you do it? How do you continuously activate such like creative power or just get out of your own way to produce such a vast body of work?
Um, I think that it's one of those things. If the more you do it, the easier it is. And I think I just been doing it so long. I don't think about like how I do it. I just do it. You know, it's like another part of it is just like I know that if I do it, I get some more money. So you know, it's like the sort of Pavlovian kind of like a hamster hamster food situation to it, where like it's just become an automatic response situation where it's like knowing I have to do it, it just never feels like a chore, but it's just kind of like, all right, so then every last stupid idea will see its, you know, we'll see its delivery, its fruition. So you just kind of like, instead of, you know, you just do literally, you execute every single idea you have, you know, and then and as you execute those ideas, you get more ideas. It's just like a way you get into, and then it's like hard to even get out of it. You're just going to be compulsively making art at that point, you know, once you get into the habit of it. That's pretty much it.
So I was gonna ask if there's a way you get in the zone to make music or create art, but it almost sounds like you just entered that perpetual flow state, perpetual art zone like years ago, and it just keeps
More or
going.
less, you know, I mean, there'll be days where you're like, okay, I gotta like fucking do some shopping and wash the dishes and like, you know, clean up, you know, mop the floor or some shit like that. And then you set that aside. But even during that, I might take a break to like draw something, you know, fucking. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's more of the flow state somewhere up here, you know, and keep going. Like once you make it a regular practice, it's hard to not do it. Yeah, but yeah, I feel like I had something else to say on it. Also, smoke weed. You know, I smoke. I feel like smoke a little weed if you're having some trouble. I guess would be my suggestion.
Word. And what sort of stuff do you like to do these days when you're not making art or music?
I don't know, man. I leave the TV on, so I'll, you know, watch the TV, fucking The homie convinced me to go to some comedy show the other night. It turned out to be fun. I mean, I'll go out and see some music, or I've been kind of hopping on a couple friends. They like play basically jazz music at a couple spots. So, but they know how to play live hip hop, so they basically ask me on to rap on some of their sets. So I'll go see them. But and then jump on their shit usually. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. And if it's really like, I might hit the beach or the woods or something. I like some nature, but I don't really go out my way to do stuff unless somebody invites me to something. But yeah, it is what it is.
Word. If you had to start your career over from scratch right now in the current media environment, how would you get yourself out there and like get noticed and make it
I,
happen?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like less and less inclined to participate. I like downloaded TikTok and still haven't used it. I like got people have told me get Discord and one other one. And I got all these other new social media apps that I just downloaded and Patreon. And I still haven't incorporated them into what I'm doing. NFTs, I've been talking to like 4 different people about making NFTs. I've only sold one. Uh, it just seems like, I don't know. I would probably go a more, hard to say. I think I'd probably play more live shows, which I actually started to do a little more, but really like focus on booking live shows and like connecting with people in person. I think is how I originally came up. It's like, Best Races, once we had a set worth of songs, we did a show a week at least, maybe 2, 3 shows in a week, for a year. And, halfway through that, we started gathering steam and getting press and all that stuff. I really think it's like about, like, nothing's more powerful than like when people are in the same room as you seeing the art, like I think that's where you really build whatever, you know, uh, nostalgic connective tissues in people where they're like, oh, I saw this, so which is like even why I like, for painters it's like important to like get the shit hanging on a wall where people can walk up and see it in person, because you could sell a shit ton. I sell more online, but I appreciate having shows because it gets people to see the paintings for real. Like a photograph doesn't always do it with a painting, like I'd say that all art, the real like personal experience, like being in the room with the art object or with the music or whatever is the highest way to experience it. So the more you do that, I think the more everything else can fall around that. Um,
Mm, beautiful. That's insightful. Thank you. Um, if you were not a rapper or artist, what alternate life path might you pursue?
I always think that if I had started young enough, I'd be robbing banks. I feel like that's probably like the noblest career path in this world, in our time. Again, I was I mean, I've been toying with like writing a book or a screenplay on a bank robber or a group of bank robbers, but maybe both. And I'll probably eventually do that, but I feel like every time I start to research it, I'm like, I should just rob banks instead. But you know, I don't know. I feel like maybe a touch too old for all that. You know what I mean? Uh, it's something you really gotta get into early. You know, but who knows, man? Maybe I'll rob some banks. Who knows? But
That's
yeah,
hilarious, man.
but bank robber definitely number one profession in this world. But
It's funny. I literally just said the other day, like, my mood was like, yo, I feel like I just want to go rob a bank. So it's kind of a weird synchronicity that you say
that's what's good. I've been saying that, man. I've been saying that, man.
that.
It's literally like hats off to bank robbers. It's like number one all time profession. It's always.
Uh, um, so in one bar of yours, you say, Kool-Aid D, the self-appointed God trickster. What does
Mhm.
it mean to be a self-appointed God trickster?
I don't know. I think it's exactly what it sounds like. Okay. I got much else to add to that. That's what it is. Self-appointed God trickster. Well, what else? What other questions could you have about that? You know?
Word up. Yeah, yeah. I feel that it's complete in itself,
Yeah.
self-evident.
Hmm.
What would your version of heaven on earth be like? What's the most beautiful world you can imagine?
Well, fuck it. Pretty, all this shit. Yeah, no money, no wars, no borders, no prisons. You know, total equality. Uh, everyone fed, everyone housed, all that type of thing. Maybe people want to eat animals either. Just fucking they run around, pet them and shit. You know, and fruit growing off a tree, pluck it off the tree. Sort of like a Garden of Eden situation. Fucking living on this earth type Roman. That's
Word
it.
up, man. Beautiful. What is your favorite mind-altering substance of all time and why?
Um, it's between I would say psychedelics, but you can't quite do them every day. It's like but if I had to get rid of all of them, it'd probably be like just some mushrooms once a year or something like that, or mushrooms like 4 times a year or something like that. But aside from that, just regular old smoking weed, kind of the one really. It's it's been the day oneer. So caffeine ain't that bad, but it's got diminishing returns. It's not the greatest. I like a yerba mate. I quit the coffee there, but I do like a yerba mate here and there. But then mind altering substance. Every substance alters the mind. Any food that you eat is going to have a different effect on your mood and your perception. So it becomes very blurred at a certain point. Like, but yeah, if we talking about like things we all agree are drugs, then sure, yeah, go weed.
Reminds me of your track, the one where you're like, fuck everything, smoke weed, drink beer, fuck everything. You just keep repeating like fuck everything. That
Yeah, that's a
that's a
classic.
rare track of yours. That's one of my favorites of yours,
Yeah, I don't remember
actually.
what fucking album that's on, but I remember where I recorded it. It was at the homie's house. So it was definitely in a session with like, I don't know, probably like 3 days straight. We made like 60 tracks or something like that. But yeah, that was on the 100. That was like on one of the 100 joints, right? Okay, maybe
Yeah, it was. I think it was the first one,
the first 100
first
joint.
100
Yeah,
track.
yeah. That was like a lot of the tracks from that session ended up there because I'm like, where else do I put these? But yeah, still pertains. I mean, I don't drink as much beer as I did back then, but I do enjoy cold brewski on occasion on a sunny day.
Word, man. Um, Getting a little metaphysical here, potentially. In your view, what is this reality we're living in? What is reality?
But yeah, I don't know, man. It is what it is, bro. Fucking little squigglies in front of your eyeballs. Fucking, you got some sort of projector back here, some sort of heat generating coil going ka-chunk, spraying light out, and the light sprays back in. You got this little you know diode, this little crystal, vibing in the domular, and it's both soaking up and releasing. So that's you. Some people say, we in a video game, whatever it is, simulation of what? So what's that thing? We're still in that thing. So we're still part of, whatever we're simulating, we're a part of that. So we are in the world. And it's just the question of you know, the walls and parameters. You know, I'll respect the flat earther for being like, what if, man? But it's also like, okay, so what if then? So how does that change anything? You know, it still acts around sometimes, you know? So then it's like, who's to say it's not a donut, a tube, a shape that it was, you know, it's like, it is whatever the fuck it is. It's like light bouncing off of, you know, like clumps of clouded molecules shooting. You know, you can describe it with science, you can describe it with religion, you can describe it with you know, sort of various language-based philosophical means. You describe it with art, music, poetry, but you're using it to describe itself. It's like, you know, taking like a piece of your skin to be like, here, this is it. You know, it's like, well, that's the whole thing. Is, you know, yeah, yeah,
A beautiful poetic answer, man. I like that. That last part reminded me of Alan Watts saying like, trying to define yourself is like trying to, what do you say, like taste your own tongue or bite your own teeth or something like that.
yeah, yeah,
Bite your own
totally,
teeth, maybe.
exactly. That's, and you expand that to like, if you're a part of this world, then yeah, you're just, you know, what's one person describing reality to another person? It's like two parts of reality describing itself to each other. You know, like we're, you know, all part of this. We're all like organisms. We're little, you know, parts of a larger thing. So, but yeah.
So then I was gonna ask, what does the word God mean to you?
Oh, you know, it's a what do you call it? Helpful shorthand for a lot of people. You know, they need something to put the thing on. You know, say, you know, God or Allah or, you know, or fucking what have you. Fucking all the different ones, all the little names. Uh but yeah, you know, it's just a stop place. It's like a what do you call it? A shorthand, you know, like a place filler. A fucking it's just like you're taking, you know, it's like a tooth biting itself, basically, you know. It's just like the thing that you call it. But you know, it's everything, really. You know.
Do you find yourself cultivating some kind of direct relationship with whatever that is? That
Yeah,
everything?
I mean, you can't help but, you know, like the God concept. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I name multiple gods in multiple of my works. I fucking, you know, occasionally read up on religion in general. I find it a compelling subject. You know, interested in, you know, how the people's faiths and morality centers and how people, you know, cope with you know, a universe as complex and confusing as this. You know, like a world where so much seems to happen that could or should be avoided, and how to, you know, how any one individual can live in such a way as to better themselves and the people around them and all that stuff. Yeah, these questions, you know, all very pertinent, and often there are some pretty good attempts at answering them within, you know, the the texts of various faiths and the fucking tenets of various faiths. Um, but then, you know, there's also the dogma of organized religion and all the terrible things that have occurred because of how, you know, essentially misinterpretations of that religion, or overt what do you call it, manipulation of of that religion. So it's kind of like, you know, the answer is not going to stay in one place. It's like but you know, I respect all attempts at religion as long as, you know, I just don't like there's a certain type of religious person who might turn their nose up at me for not picking one or not being theirs, or not, or seeming like I'm some kind of non-believer. I just don't get down with the judgment aspect. But yeah, I mean, I can vibe usually with almost any, person of almost any faith, I'd say. Of literally any faith, as long as they chill.
Word. And when you're naming like multiple gods in your songs, like Jah, God, different types of stuff, are all those names referring to the same thing for you? The
Well,
same.
it's the same and different. They got different names, so they got different textures through different parts of the same thing. But yeah, it's just as end of the day. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Fucking, they're as different as the words are. Like, I'm trying to name something beyond all of it, I guess. Something that includes all of it. So that's why I'll just, rattle off a specific list. And kind of, I feel like, especially with the Orishas, you like don't really hear all their names all that often. Especially, outside of a circle where you might hear that. So I feel like I'm not your average conduit or channel into, Santeria, for example. Like, it's not like you're going to me for all your Santeria news. It's like my demographic of listeners is more outside that than in, I would say. So just to even, I feel like so much of, and I'm not Santero. Like, I'm not initiated. I don't like, not within a community of Santeros. I know a couple, but but I'm not within that community. But I do what I've always dug about, specifically about Santeria and about Rastafarianism too, is they call it syncretism. The idea of, they're both religions that are essentially taking African concepts and, applying them to a colonizer's religion, like people attempt to colonize you with a specific religion. And then they find a way to meld, you know, um, like Rastafarianism takes like Old Testament, Hebrew scriptures, the Abrahamic books, and applies like, a new, like a sort of new ageified version of like African concepts applied to those books. So it's, or, Santeria is like, it takes, the canon of saints in Catholicism and applies them to the gods, which I think that's like how even Catholicism sold itself in Europe back in the day. It's like there were many pagans, so they had to kind of like, if they're, and of course it's like, okay, so to what end? I think it's to, with Santeria at least, is to like a more, being more in touch with your African roots as as a African in diaspora, say in Cuba and in Mexico and all the other, in the Caribbean in general, where people were. So yeah, I mean, I guess when I say the name, like so much of like the basis of the thing is like calling forth these gods to then, you literally call their name out to bring them to, you say Eligua first, he's like the gatekeeper, and then everybody else comes. You trying to bring them all to the table and be like, and it's almost like I'll say him as a filler in the song, like, what next? Okay, well, let me just bring out the gods for the rest, like, and I feel like, I don't know, a lot of those religions, what's funny is those religions, they came out of specific regions, Nigeria, Congo, Ghana, variations on like Yoruba and Lukumi and all the kind of, it was like a melange of basically like Yoruba, Lukumi, and I think one other one that kind of got squished into Santeria. But and it's like where a huge bulk of the slave trade was culling from, so it's basically where, most kind of Caribbean and American uh Africans in diaspora like found themselves over there, for like that's the it makes yeah, I mean it's just the that's just the natural history of how that those religions melded with, Catholicism, I guess. But I don't know what I mean to say with all that. I'm just I try to, yeah, I think it's just calling them to the table. I don't know what to do next because I'm not in that, but I don't know. Some compels me to do it. Like,
So it's kind of like everything is everything on one level, but then there's also like hella complexity and flavors to these different
yeah,
traditions and
yeah,
cultures.
totally. I mean, what I found was interesting is, okay, Abasi Dubiaku is the name I finally landed on to be like, okay, the A and the D stand for Abasi and Dubiaku. Abasi is a wind god, the creator god out of the Ifik religion, which that's the other one actually. And then out of Nigeria. And then Dubiaku is like a trickster figure out of Ghana. And when my sister she finally did a genetics test. She found out the black side of our family is Nigerian mostly with a little bit of Ghanaian. And I was like, oh, okay. So the Abasi Dubiaku, I picked that without knowing that that was actually from my own like bloodline. And then I like, okay, well, the fact that I'm also like compelled to say the names of these gods when they were actually half of my people's gods back in the day, like and I was drawn and compelled to that since I was a youngin. I was like into Santeria, like read a whole book on it as a kid and all this shit. And I was like, okay, this sounds tight. This sounds right, without realizing that some part of my blood was asking for that, like which isn't to mean that like Yoruba and like the original Nigerian religions that like my ancestors practiced was the only religion. It's just the specificities of their land and their people and all that stuff created that image, for them. But it's not like it's no different from, Allah or Jah or, you know, a Christian God or any of the gods in the Hindu pantheon. Uh, yeah, or the Romans or the Shinto in Japan, or it's like they're all, it's all essentially just like, basic morality, um, the idea that there is a force, a natural force bigger than all of us that created everything, and that the universe moves to, something greater than any single individual. So, and it all is about, yeah, love, respect, peace, etc. Like every religion boils down to about the same thing, more or less. There's, large differences. But the large differences are, largely cultural, material. They aren't that large in the end of the day. Like, so yeah. And I mean, I don't know. When you're trying to fit that into music, it's not like you can really get that. I mean, you could get that academic. That's just not how I also feel like I am probably more academic as a musician and artist, rapper, or whatever than your average, but also not really. Like I went to college and shit. I learned how to speak in a specific way to you know I learned how to write a paper essentially in a specific voice to be like this explains this, but it's like it doesn't, that even that can be used, in the wrong way. It's like you can make a perfect argument for something that's completely untrue, uh like so it's like, yeah, so then it becomes more of like, well, it's like an age-old war, I think, between like language and actual truth. As soon as you learn how to codify something, put it into any kind of word or any, um that all said, my art making process is pretty automatic. I try to read and think and experience the world and walk about the world in a way where I'm trying to learn regardless. And then the way that I then, um, you know, uh, the way that I then make art after that is a pretty automatic process. So it's like, get it if you can, but I don't want to put it in any specific way that might be familiar per se. I mean, it's familiar now. Like my own style is now familiar to myself and people that fuck with me. But I feel like it's, over time, exactly that, my own style. Like, I'll lean on a bunch of different types of, motifs and kind of arrangements and genre nods here and there. And, but I don't know. I feel like the things that I want to say are not necessarily sayable in any other way, but this very vague kind of way that I've been chipping away at for a long time. And that, maybe it'll crystallize into something a little easier for the average person to penetrate, or it's just going to remain this kind of like long gobbledygook that you can dig through and find some gems in, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like it's not pin downable. It's you can't really pin it down. It's and it just a couple things that came up when you were speaking, like when you said like just letting it flow through is pretty automatic. Made me think of like you saying, I don't want to edit a lot. A sedative
Said it
stop.
is hot,
Give
yeah.
me a sedative stop.
Yeah, yeah,
It kind of like
yeah, yeah,
Ginsberg shit. Like, yeah, not
yeah,
editing, just letting it flow through. And yeah, we're talking about it in like a linear way right now, but you make very like non-linear poetic music, and it can't really be pinned down in like linear linguistic words, I guess. But yeah, but that's I appreciate the exploration anyway of your kind of view of the religious aspect of your music. And the natural force thing, like the one natural force, made me think of the Tao. And I remembered you speaking about the Tao Te Ching years ago in some interview. I was curious
or
if you still read
oh
that
yeah,
book at all. It's one of my
oh
favorites.
totally, yeah. I have like at least one or two translations of it in the crib right now, but yeah, I usually keep at least one copy of that book on me. um that's one of my favorites for surely. Yeah, I mess with it down a big way. Because yeah, I mean, yeah, that's it's one of my favorite religious texts, I gotta say. Because it tries very hard not to implement any, like, to let itself be dogmatic, like it's really you know no, it's a really fucking, it's like more of a book of poems almost, it's like definitely one of my favorite religious texts of all time. Tao Te Ching, for surely that. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. It speaks
Yeah,
for itself. I would
yeah,
recommend anybody read that.
100%. It's a fast read too, but you could
Yeah.
spend many lifetimes like going deep into the meanings of that
So
book.
yeah. I mean, it's right for rereads too, and it's different every reread. Also, if you as you start to look for different translations, you realize how deep it is as a Chinese text. You're like, oh, okay, this is like, because it's very, it's a book about semantics in a lot of ways. So you're gonna, like, I almost feel like the best way to read it, you got to learn Chinese at some point. Because I bought different translations and looked, like, it's there's some lines that are pretty different depending on how you translate them, where it makes me want to be like, hey, what was the dude saying in Chinese? And it's like not the point. You get the point. Is like, it's not about the words anyway. It's kind of like what the dude's trying to say. But still, it's like one of those things. It's one of those ones where I like definitely wish I knew Chinese so I could read that one in Chinese. But yeah.
Word, man. Shout out Lao Tzu. Um,
Yeah.
I also thought of when you were talking about religion, like that one line of yours in your classic track "Dumb Diary," where you're like, nah, I'm not a heathen, I believe it all.
Mhm.
Plus I fuck a lot. Man, you stupid me in a sucker spot.
Yeah.
I'm curious, like, would you still, like, what does it mean? What do you feel it means to believe it all? And do you feel like you still believe it all?
Yeah, I mean, I still do. I mean, it's because I feel like I can't really disprove almost anything. Like I'll give everything a shot. I know what I like functionally believe on a day to day. Like you know, there'll be stuff I'll disagree with, but I like can't say that I necessarily don't believe. Like I could see how that could be true to, whoever it is that's believing that. Like I don't know. There's obviously shit that's like not there's like definitely like types of things like ideologies that are like toxic, that they are not sustainable, they cause destruction, that are not good to believe, like not useful to believe, like ultra nationalism, Nazism, all that type of shit, like uh but then you kind of like look at the mechanics of how those things are built, and they're made for like, okay, these guys are just essentially taking, like it's not like they'll have a logic unto themselves where you're like, I can see how someone can be tricked into, especially people in these kind of monoculturalistic places, like say like a super white area in the Midwest or like Europe or something where you don't even see people that aren't white. Then you can go down that road because all the fantasy about people that aren't white, your brain doesn't have any experiences to counteract that. So I see how that works. Not to say that that is a true thing and that I believe those things, but I could see like, you know I mean, even the idea that, and I'm like not super familiar with because I don't really spend my time, but I'm like, I don't know, what I find about a lot of like super right wing type, like bullshitty alt-right type shit, is that they usually have some kind of like angle about class that isn't completely rooted in falseness. Like they'll get part of the picture right, and then they manipulate to add these non-truths, like, and so that like there'll always be a ceiling of, because like you can't get everybody on board if there's not not some kernel of truth that's like that you're using as bait to get them in there, so. And I guess that's what I mean. I'm like not trying to both sides or centrist this or that. I'm like not trying to make any kind of excuse for people that have heinous ideologies that are about death and destruction and genocide, But I'm saying that there's no way that your average, human being can fall for that if there isn't a kernel of truth being used as bait in that. And so, but on a broader sense, shit that's like more, say like like the three main Abrahamic religions, like Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. Like a lot of great has been done in the names of those three, and a lot of terrible shit has been done in the names of those three. So it's like you can believe like the spirit behind the text that's meant to be taken with, the highest good faith, or you could believe the actions of the institutions that have twisted those truths to be different, you know, and to do evil. You got Israel, you got fucking Al Qaeda, you got the Crusades and the evangelists in America. Really, uh, like when I say I believe it all, I believe the root, like the good thing, you know. Uh,
Or
you know, that's all I mean
yeah,
to say.
totally. Yeah, I think that's how I always took it. It was kind of like I felt like it was about specifically about like religion, spirituality, and just like, yeah, I believe in there's all sorts of crazy, like,
Yeah,
metaphysical, powerful, wild shit going on that we got no idea about. And I'm not a non believer, was kind of like how I
yeah,
always felt the line.
surely. I got a couple preachers in my dad's side of the family. You know, I got like a good chunk of my dad's side of the family is like pretty Christian, you know. So like they don't get, and then my dad married, like my mom's mom was Jewish. She grew up atheist stuff, you know. So like my whole, you know, I did a couple years at I did like kindergarten through sixth grade at two different Catholic schools, you know, on my dad's, like, you know, like just to make his parents happy, I think. And he didn't even believe that shit. He's just like, you know, because they're like, end of the day, they're pretty like, I mean, those schools were pretty racist. They were pretty fucking like conservative. And he was realizing he had to do a bunch of like, oh, let me make sure that you're not getting programmed type of like talks. Like, and I mean, I wasn't, because like, you know, my mom's like not Christian at all. You know, she's like, you know, technically Jewish, but barely, you know. And I got some Jewish homies, and, you know, my daughter's mom's side of the family is Muslim. So I was like one of those, you know, I was around a lot of Muslim for a while. And it's kind of like one of those things where it's just like, there's a specific type of very religious person that gets like wild judgy. That's just kind of like, well, how come you aren't, you know, how come you don't think about things exactly the way I think about things? You know, it's just like, I literally can't. I cannot, you know. It's like I can't say that any one of these guys is the God, because what does that say about like the other 7 billion people on this earth? You know, like that they're all wrong. You know, like that's like the whole, you know, the Crusades, man, the fucking evangelical Christians. Like it's like so much of the earth's, like so much of the foul shit that's happened in human history has been out of the so-called, you know, good intention of spreading. Though I also feel like it was never any, you know, like the good intention was always a lie. Like it was always colonialism, and that religion was always just used as a front. Like I always feel like the people that have done the foulest shit, like the religious institutions that have done the foulest shit, have always been non-believers, you know. Like you can't actually, you know, like you can't actually like be a serious scholar of your religion and do like the foul shit that has occurred like throughout history, you know, in the name of this and that religion. You know, it's like it becomes something else, you know. But
Word. Hmm. When you talk about like I can't be in one belief system, it reminded me of that bar of yours that you say a few times, like pea pot of land so frameless. Like it
mm,
reminds me of like the
mm,
meaning of that bar. I'm curious what you would say about it. It seems like the lens has no like ideological inhibitor, like something like
yeah,
that.
yeah, basically. I mean, yeah, the lens is frames. It's like what lens even? Like the I forget. It's this dude Kabir, um, like a Muslim mathematician, philosopher guy, said the center is everywhere. And it's kind of like, yeah, like you only looking at something, you're not even looking at something through a lens. Yeah, like the lens of what your eye is framed by, I guess your skull. Like, I don't know, man. Like, you know, I was just getting light with that bar. I don't really understand like how to say it other than how I said it, but you know, I'm trying to like put it in different words, but really like the lens is frameless, you know.
Word up, man. Um, what would you say if someone simply asked you, "Who are you?"
You know, it's your boy. Fucking cool AD, bruh. Basi Dubiaku, you know. You already.
You already know.
You already know,
What
brother.
ab- what about who are you on the deepest level?
Oh man. You know, I still say the same thing. It's me. It's your dude, man. You know me. You feel me?
Word up.
Anyway, I gotta go though. I got a couple of things I gotta do. I gotta actually get up and take a shower and shit. But
Word up, man. You got time for like one more question?
sure.
Um, and so I know you're a father. I have an 8-month-old daughter too, and
That's what's up.
we're just gonna ask you what's the most profound lesson for you from fatherhood so far?
Oh man, it's more than one. It's a no, man. I don't know, man. I guess patience. It just brings you to earth in a way. You know, fucking uh, really shows you a type of unconditional love. I don't think you might have that for members of your family, parents or siblings or what have you, but like it's a whole different level of unconditional love. It's like just just the craziest, wildest, most beautiful trip. Like, uh, I don't know what to say about it. I can't even think of a single specific lesson. It's like lessons every day. It's constantly, but yeah, uh,
Beautiful, man. I feel that in my heart.
bless,
Thank you.
bro, man. Good luck with that 8 months. That's a cute little button you probably got. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, she's
man,
beautiful.
love it, dig it, man. Fucking, you know, it's a truly a blessing. Good stuff.
Mm. I wanted to give you space at the end. If you felt like dropping a freestyle, feel free. If you don't feel that, no worries.
No, I just woke up. I swear, I got it like
Okay.
that.
Okay.
But
Okay.
yeah, fucking follow the links and shit. I'll send you a link and shit. I got hella raps y'all can you listen to, man.
Word. Yeah.
All right.
Where can people find you online and find your stuff?
I got a lot of old stuff on the regular, all your basic streaming services, Spotify and shit. But the past almost 3 years now, I've been Bandcamp exclusive due to some moving from one digital distro to another, or planning on it and never doing it. So I got to still do that, and then I'll have most of my shit back on Spotify. But you can catch like everything up until the last 3 years on your Spotify, Apple, whatever the fuck you listen to, and then everything else just goes straight to the Bandcamp, which I can send you a link, or you can put up a link or whatever. But and then I got a fair amount of stuff that might not be on Spotify, but it's on Dat Piff randomly. I don't know why, but and then YouTube, you can find some shit on there. Just streaming. But yeah, or you hit my actual page, and I sell discographies on USB for usually pretty cheap. Maybe 100, sometimes lower if I'm broke. But yeah, and that'll be some stuff that's not even released too. There'll be a couple little gems in there. So, but
Word.
yeah,
Dope. And Instagram, Twitter is like at VVVVV. Like,
yeah, VEE 5 times. VEE 5 times. It's
word.
not. It doesn't make for an easy, whatever. I never think too hard about how to actually sell my shit. So it's probably something I got to step my game up on. But you know, anyway, brother, I gotta go.
All right, bro. Thank you so much for your time. Much
It's
love,
only
man.
peace,
Appreciate it.
bro. Yeah,
Take it
much
easy.
love, brother. You too, bro.